Welcome to the Franchising Made Simple webinar for those transitioning from military to civilian life. First and foremost, thank you for serving our country. You may have attended or will attend the Higher GI Veteran Career Fair, searching for a job, and maybe exploring franchise ownership to apply your skills and experiences through self-employment. My name is Scott Diener, CEO of Pro Franchise Advisor, and we're a strategic partner with Higher GI where we coach veterans to determine if franchising is a good fit for your financial, career, and lifestyle goals, and then help you find the right franchise by leveraging our firsthand experience as business owners. This is an opportunity for you to get a no cost, no obligation, with no hidden fees for our services to leverage me as a free resource. As a veteran, you may also qualify for special incentives from franchisors and financial lenders. A little bit about me: I built franchise brands for others until I find myself in transition. So my wife and I built 3 family entertainment centers where I understand firsthand the day-to-day responsibilities of a family business for the past 18 years. We signed 3 SBA loans, collateralized our house multiple times, so I learned what it takes to own and lead a franchise business. What we will cover today is the beginning journey to explore if franchising is right for you. What is franchising? We'll cover business ownership versus a job, advantages, disadvantages. Is franchising the right option for you, and how to find that right franchise. Definition of franchising. Most people think iconic brands, Subway, Chick-fil-A, right? There's so much more. Franchising, it's a strategy to distribute products and services through an established system, often accomplished better by franchisees than corporate stores because the franchisee, possibly you, would have skin in the game. A franchisee pays a franchise fee to get that door open. And then once it's open, that ongoing royalty is the right to use the franchisor's trademarks and that proven system. Franchisees rinse and repeat that service over and over again from unit to unit in a consistent quality manner. The franchisor and the franchisee community, they provide support, onboarding, ongoing, so the franchisees get better and better to deliver the service, improve performance, and profits. Franchising facts. Let's talk about a few. There's about 4,000 franchise companies, about 120 different industries. You got 900,000 operating units here in the U.S. Almost 12% of all jobs out in the private sector are franchise related. Think about this. The SBA, Small Business Administration, study shows 50% of independent startups go out of business within 5 years. That's a pretty bumpy road. While 95% of franchises are still in business after 5 years. Franchising is a soft landing when you're transitioning from military careers to life as an entrepreneur. Think about in the popular categories, baby boomers. Everybody's getting older, that older population. They want services, while millennials, they're outsourcing all their needs and wants, which makes for a very healthy small business growth engine. Looking at the popular categories, you've got boutique fitness, kids education, beauty, healthy foods, consulting, senior care, where you're caring for seniors inside their homes, cleaning, home repairs, pet care, all very, very popular. Let's look at some transition options for you. Become a civilian employee, become a contractor, working still with the military or in private sector, consultant. Maybe starting a business. You've always had that big idea, but now you need to prove that concept. You're out there independent, by yourself. Maybe you buy an existing business that's open and operating, but that risk is you got to figure out by yourself, are those really the books? Is this really the business? Franchising is it's a regulated industry. And so that's why people like franchising, is because it's a soft landing into a proven system that's regulated. You've already got franchisees ahead of you. You can validate the concept before you get involved with it. And setting up multiple income streams. So what are people looking for? Well, people are looking for, they want that challenge and recognition. Look back at that military life where they tell you where and what your next job is, which may include overseas. Now it's your decision to steer your course. Most want control, emotional fulfillment, that challenge, recognition. Becoming a civilian employee is different. Since there's just not one way to do things. There's many different options to complete the same task, and that takes getting some used to. Also, knowing a change in top leadership could create company right sizing. So having your own business creates a second long-term secure career where you make the decisions, and it eliminates the anxiety of the inevitable downsizing, right sizing. You're home every night. People want to be home where you work, you live, you play in the same area, and you're offering a service that improves lives. You do it right, you build an asset that you can later sell and build upon your military retirement. Starting a business is not just a job, but it's a complete change of life. The challenge is daunting. Could be, but that's where the franchising, it helps you get started and ongoing support. A lot of research required to get to the point of saying, yes, this is for me. You got to have that heart-to-heart conversation with the family. You got to consider the deep questions. What do I want to do each day? What will it cost? Do the benefits outweigh the challenges? Do I have the mettle to succeed? The boldness, drive, determination. What if there was a way to take away that fear? Think about your reasons. What's your why? What are you trying to accomplish by starting a business? Let's discuss what stops individuals from achieving their why. Fear. Fear is the unknown. It's false evidence that appears real. It's that elephant sitting on your shoulders. Sometimes it's people close to you. It's their fears that can stop you. Often, as kids, our parents came into the room at night and they turned on the lights. We've all been there. Now, as an adult, how do we turn on those lights to mitigate that business startup risk? Well, we become educated investors. We seek knowledge before we make a yes-no decision. We get educated. We find proven systems where someone else has done that trial and error, done for you. You're seeking brands and companies where the franchise leadership team and the fellow franchisees have already created a support network and built shared purchasing resources. Let's say fear shuts off the lights and it's easier to remain as an employee or under the covers. Isn't there risk you'll lose your job? And yeah, there's risk you'll lose your money starting a business. The stars will never align, so timing, money, family, market conditions, demographics, they're valid reasons. And individually, they can stop you from achieving your why. But let's talk about traits that make a successful person as a franchise owner. The first trait is really realizing business ownership is not for everyone. Some people want to blaze their own trail with no restrictions on a blank page, which tilts red on the risky meter. And that's okay if that's where you want to live. Most of us have hard-earned money where we want a defined path with a smooth landing because we can follow a due diligence process to evaluate proven systems with proven operating procedures. Another trait is one's ability to learn, to listen, get educated about business ownership. Get excited that you're going to be able to train and lead your own team, and you're going to be able to resolve customer issues, since that's your pathway to achieve your future objectives. Not any different than working for others, but now it's your money. That's why franchise outlets outperform corporate stores. It's all about leadership, Another key trait to business ownership is having family, spouse, partner support from the very beginning, day one. When I coach families, the spouse must be involved. In most cases, when you take 50, 100K out of savings or retirement funds, families must have that free flowing conversation at the dinner table. Business ownership is rewarding when everybody is involved. Access to financing is much easier because you're within a proven system with proven history. So, how do you change direction once you've made the decision it's time to review different options? Well, most people choose a job. Why? It's easier. But there's risk that, again, that you'll lose your job. You have lack of control of your future. Sometimes during maybe your career in civilian life, you may benefit from change. I've been on both sides. A business costs money. We've talked about that. You may lose it, but you don't need as much money when you own your own business because you can write off a lot of those expenses, auto expenses, food, whatever legitimate expenses are out there that you can write off. Often I hear, I don't have those skills. Franchising takes individuals from diverse backgrounds and provides extensive onboarding and ongoing training, support, and coaching. Focus on where you provide the greatest value. Know your strengths so you can find a company in the right culture. For all of our clients, we start with a franchise industry assessment tool, 5 minutes, to gain really insights that compare your values, behaviors, interests, motivations to franchise owners so you find businesses where you're more likely to succeed. Always be true to yourself because it's you who needs to wake up every AM ready to have the eye of the tiger. Again, top skills and strengths owning a small business, they tend to have these 5 categories. Got to be able to manage and lead people by managing expectations of both the customers and the employees and your team. You must resolve customer issues timely to build that referral base. You can't let things sit. Got to resolve them. You or someone on your team have got to drive sales. It's the heartbeat. And you got to be comfortable networking out in the community. You must follow processes. Everybody's pretty good at that through the military, well learned. But you got to also be able to adapt and be flexible to change. Maybe the customer base is changing. Something out in the environment is changing that flexibility to change and recognize that things have changed. And you talk with the franchisor and you work with them. Be confident you offer killer operations, high quality, high service, and commit. The franchise matchmaking journey starts with what's your why. Both of my adult kids have very separate and distinct whys, and each would not be happy in each other's shoes, yet they're from the same mold. I would expect the same for you and your immediate family, so always be true to yourself. The assessment tool is free. Go to our website, click resources, take it. Talk about business ownership. Is it right for me? You got to answer these questions, all with yes. Yes, I want to control my family's future. Yes, I'm taking charge and willing to change my path. Yes, I have the people skills, the energy level, and the survival instinct to become an owner. Yes, I'm willing to invest in myself and not let fear or false sense of security hold me back. Yes, I want real income and career stability. Yes, I will surround myself around CPAs and professional coaches who are going to help me make the right decisions to reduce my risk. You say yes? Let's talk about now business preference modeling. Everybody has typically 5 to 7 of the most important characteristics, criteria that you need to make a yes-no decision. There's 4,000 brands out there, 120 different industries. Somehow you got to filter that down, and we save time and money by creating this modeling process. Choosing the wrong franchise is a costly mistake. So we define business preferences as essential to finding the right match. So at the top, we talk about, am I going to be full-time? Am I going to be part-time? Some people choose to get a day job and then they hire a manager to run the operations for the first 1 to 2 years until the business produces enough income. Full-time, part-time. What is your daily responsibility going to be? When you get up in the morning, do you want to focus on marketing? And that's getting that phone to ring. We talk about digital marketing. Or is it sales? The phone's ringing. Now I need to pick it up, or I need to go out to a customer's place and provide an estimate. Or am I standing behind that counter, giving sales, providing and selling the products? Is it operations? So that sale's done. Now I got to provide that quality and consistency to get to close out that sale. Back of house, accounting, IT. Franchisors have figured this out since they want you, one, leading your team, or two, with the customers. So talking through the customer bases, you have types of customers. Outbound, you go to them. Think a fleet of vehicles. Or inbound, where they're coming to you. Think brick and mortar type facilities, restaurants, retail. Costs more because the capital of that build out cost, the construction. You also have a lot more labor and takes longer to get opened. The economy is still very robust, so those landlords are charging high rent at the moment. If you got time, it's a great option. And maybe semi-absentee type might be good for you. Customers. Talk about B2B, B2C. So B2B says you talk to business services. B2C is where it's residential type services. Restaurants, or maybe you're going out to someone's house providing a service. Maybe it's lawn care, maybe it's painting, something like that. Types of employees. Do you want to work by yourself? Are you that artisan? Or you want to be a consultant? No employees? No team members? Maybe with a few skilled or licensed team? Or would you rather have large numbers where you can focus on leading those teams? Maybe you want to have office personnel only and no one out in the field. Do you want a single location, maybe a small territory? Or maybe your focus and your strength is on multi-unit facilities, larger territories. Some people would rather go to a single place every day, maybe have a bigger facility. Some people would rather have smaller and have multi-unit. Again, part of that 5-minute assessment is it helps us trying to figure out where's your sweet spot. Do you want iconic type brands where it's just about operations? Or would you rather have a seat at the leadership table within an emerging brand? If I was to say Subway again, you're probably not going to change much in their system. It's pretty well defined with tens of thousands of units. Do you want to work out of your home, office, or brick and mortar retail type location where inbound customers come to you? Last thought, how much liquid capital are you willing to invest? We'll dive into this in a few slides. So let's dive deeper into daily responsibilities. So this stair step shows various rollout strategies to choose your daily responsibilities. Start at the bottom left, a single unit owner operator model. So that says roll up your sleeves. You're in the business and provide a service, auto mechanic, artisan, personal trainer, a nurse, a head cook, or on the business where you set the overall direction and manage that tradesperson, boutique fitness manager, or in-home care senior caregivers. So that's a single unit. Now, multi-unit on the second step is your role is to scale and build multiple locations and territories, typically 3+ units. Right in the middle, you talk semi-absentee on that third step, very popular nowadays. You keep your day job. You oversee a manager that manages the business. You work on the business. And once the business produces that desired income, you create a soft landing into business ownership. Area development, typically bigger operations, you're focusing on 6, maybe 10 locations, an area, developing a bigger infrastructure. Costs more money, definitely, because you have a large footprint. Very top, you got master franchising, very unique. It's really for those who sales, marketing, project management type backgrounds where you own a development right to a specific market. Could be fairly large, maybe a major metro area. You interview franchisees to bring in your team. They are your team, the new franchisees. You support them to get them open to be successful. In return, the franchisor shares the upfront franchise fees and they split royalties with you. Great option. Well, we've learned a little bit about you, so let's jump into some advantages and disadvantages of franchising. Franchising taps into that collective power of training, coaching, technology, marketing, operations support, standard operating procedures, the SOPs. The franchisor provides that ongoing onboarding and ongoing support for the life of the agreement. It's a system in a box, simply said. Very similar to military life because it's very organized. It's a checklist way of life with a sense of family with corporate staff and other franchisees. The existing franchisee network becomes a vital part of that support for help, feedback, mentorship by phone, meetups, annual conventions. Franchisees are executing against the same model, but in a different non-competitive environment, maybe somewhere else locally or across the U.S. It's smarter to surround yourself around like-minded people with the same goals. The car is built, the road is defined, you decide how far and how fast. So we're talking about disadvantages. Now, people go into business for, there's two different paths. Some people blaze their own trail, no rules. According to the SBA, 50% are failed after 5 years. So that franchise route has about 95% still open after 5 years. But some people say, there's additional cost. I don't really want to pay someone else to help me get open. I don't want to pay those franchise fees. And I don't want to pay the ongoing royalty payments for that support network. I can do it myself. That costs money. The tougher emotional side is having to follow a system with restrictions. Maybe if you buy a burger franchise, then you're committing to produce that burger to every customer the same way as that next franchisee, same ingredients with a similar marketing vibe. Some franchisees or franchises are very restrictive, while others think service sector like a handyman, landscaping, they have more flexibility in their systems. Though it is a system, there's just a little bit more flexibility. So it's all about trying to decide what kind of system that you want to be a part of. Most of all, selecting the wrong franchise can be very painful emotionally and financially. So most of all, do your due diligence. So let's talk about a little about cost of owning a business. Starting $5,000, you'll see them online. Buyer beware. What we want to do is stay away from the brands where there's product driven. Stuff can be taken away by Amazon, can be sent offshore. That's really a buyer beware. Find services that are in the local community that have to be done day in and day out. So that way your business thrives over many, many years. Facility franchises, typically the most expensive. People think of those as those restaurants, retail, initial investment, the fees, the retail build out. It comes with inventory, point of sale systems, all the marketing, working capital. When you hear that word, it says, what happens when you get that door open? I need labor. I got to pay rent. Typical average, maybe $350,000. East and West Coast, you're probably plus 20%. It could be more. So inside, we'll talk a little bit about franchise disclosure documents. There's a range of prices. And since, again, economy is fairly robust, stay on the higher end to be conservative. Facility franchises, great opportunities. It just costs more, takes longer to get open. So it depends on your transitionary timing too. Service franchises, less capital, frequently yield a higher return. You go to that customer. The average is probably about 150,000. If you work by yourself, maybe there's 60, 80, 90,000. If you start adding a team, and for every member, you've got to pay them. So then that average starts to creep up, and by the time you buy, maybe you need an office setup. Maybe you need a vehicle investment, whether it's a lease or buy. There's all these different options. Maybe you need an office setup. It could be an industrial office. Again, typical average maybe about 150,000. Investing in a franchise is a major investment, so you get what you pay for. Let's talk through the funding facts, and we can run through a sample too. The franchisors, very few offer too much funding. There are a bunch of franchise funding companies, high quality, that we can connect you to as we start to explore those different options and mixing and matching to see if business ownership makes sense. Local banks, very few offer the financing for the first-time buyers, and that's where that SBA kind of kicks in, is to really help with the collateral, the guarantees to the bank. In typical SBA says you inject 25%, so you put in 50,000, and then the bank will SBA will guarantee then that 150, so 75%. That's typical how that works. Maybe you've got a 401k, maybe you've got an IRA rollover. You maybe once you leave the military, then maybe you want to pull some money out and invest it. Maybe there's a home equity line of credit. Always better to secure that prior to leaving with the military. Veteran discounts, we've talked about probably about 600 to 700 brands maybe out there offer veteran discounts off franchise fees and maybe even loans, depending upon the brand. And yeah, there's government assistance. Not too much that's still left, but there's very little, and we'll connect you with the right resources. So how much money do I need? Looking at about 50,000 liquid, about 250,000 net worth, 650 FICO score, and living expenses. So let's talk through that. There's three things that the banks are looking for when you're talking loans. Personal living expenses. So take that mortgage, maybe there's an auto loan, groceries, kids' activities. Say it's $4,000 a month it takes to feed the family, times 12 months. So that's $48,000. Now you borrow money, 12 months. So if you borrow $100,000, it's typically about $1,000 repayment per month, times 12. So there's $12,000. Maybe there's a lease and rent expense, say $3,000 per month. So there's $36,000. If you have a facility-based franchise over a service-based franchise. So looking at as a hypothetical, you've got the $48,000 in living, $12,000 loan. That's $60,000. About $5K a month. You need to cover over the first 12 months. Now, if you add that $36,000 for the first 12 months. Now you need add 60 plus 36, it's $96,000 in cash. Business financing is similar to buying a house. I really want that $500,000 house on the hill, 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, a large yard, pool for the kids, but maybe the banks will only give me $440 upon the cash liquid injection that I'm willing to make. So it doesn't mean that I'm going to spend the $440. I want to get pre-qualified so that I understand what my max limit is that matches my risk portfolio. The house I buy might need to reduce down to 2 baths with a mid-size yard. I don't know. But that's part of this pre-qualification process. We discussed early on that funding a business and finding a business, they're parallel but separate paths that need to converge at the time to make a change your reality. So let's talk through What does the due diligence process look like after you decide to make time for this evaluation? I'm really interested. So we have a 7-step selection process because it focuses on education first. So we first start, you fill out that 5-minute assessment, and it helps learn about you. We've talked about that. Complete this questionnaire, about 15 minutes. So what we do then is we take a couple of those bites of information and we conduct, it's a consultation call. We'll spend an hour, hour and a half. Let's create that business model that's right for you. Let's summarize what's most important for you to get into business. Then we go ahead and I'm going to research franchise concepts, and then we're going to match that model to your characteristics, and we're going to talk through them, give you a lot of information about, hey, here's some companies I think match in the territory that has availability in the city that you want to live in. Make the introduction to you franchise companies and start that evaluation process. Learn about, do I really want to do this every day with these type of customers, with these type of employees? We provide weekly education and coaching as we work through this process and provide lots of resources, talk about financing, and support that decision-making process, whether if it's at the end of the day, it's an educated decision of yes or no. Your advisory circle, you need to around certified franchise consultants who have walked in your shoes as business owners and can coach you onto what are those risks. The best advisors maybe have been on both sides, have been on the franchisor side, business ownership side. They understand the commitment and what it takes. Find advisors that give back to the community. They understand that process. Using consultants like myself, there's never any cost. You're never going to sign any agreements. Because it's a regulated industry, if you go direct or use a franchise consultant, it's the same franchise fee. Pretty cool, huh? When picking brands for our clients, what do we search for? We're looking for strong, experienced franchisor leadership teams where the franchisees validate they're achieving their goals. They're happy with their system and their investment. Franchisor is providing the onboarding and ongoing support with the local store marketing. And they have a national reputation management, meaning they're monitoring what all the stores are doing from a customer perspective. They're supporting operational excellence. Is the franchisor healthy financially? Does the culture feel right? Is the size of the system, would you rather be in a smaller or larger one? Because there's advantages and disadvantages to them. It's like living in a big city versus a small city. For facility-based systems, will the franchisor support site selection and construction build-out? Let's say you found a few brands that seem to meet your emotional and analytical litmus test. So why do people start or stop the evaluation process once they get going? Well, we talked about your why. Why are you motivated to start a business? You identify your strengths, your business selection criteria. Seems pretty straightforward, but people stop because maybe they realize business ownership isn't right for them at that time. It's a lot of work. Maybe that fear and anxiety keeps popping up. And how do you address it? How do you get rid of those fears? Maybe at the end you say, just that lack of capital. Maybe I still believe, and the family says, you really need to get a civilian job. That's where I'm secure. Family, friends, they really want you to stay working for a company. Ultimately, you may also say, I really want to start my own company, but I'm a maverick. I really want to just do my own thing, run my own rules. I don't want to follow anybody else's system. And at the end, they say, you know what? I can't make a decision. I'm going to get a job, and that's just for right now, that's the best decision for me. As you learn about yourself, you model the perfect business We introduce you to company executives who explain what your daily role would be. So you learn who, what, when, why, how to ease some of that fear. Fortunately, the FTC has regulated franchising to give you a binocular into the franchisor before you sign an agreement. So this government disclosure document, the franchise disclosure document, the FDD for short, it manages expectations. The first 23 chapters are written like a book, tables, charts. The franchisor must provide the FDD in the beginning so you get educated. So you learn about how long they've been in business, the experience, any bankruptcies, any litigation that they're realizing. What are those? What's that total investment? There's a chart, and it talks about, it breaks down the franchise fee, other fees. What's it going to cost for equipment, supplies, insurance? Working capital says, hey, doors are open. What am I going to need for the first 2, 3, 4, 5 months? And they'll identify for rent, for labor. What is it? What's that royalty fee? And then also you're going to talk about the franchise agreement inside there. But I would suggest at the beginning, around page 50, start on page 1 through 50, and it talks about, and it reads like a book, all about the obligations of the franchisor or franchisee. What's that territory size? The FTC also says, hey, we want you to call current and past franchisees. Validate the concept before you become a franchisee. What are those earnings claims? If a franchisor makes it, how much revenue, net income, or any subset, it must be listed, and how is it determined? Here's the takeaway. Buying a franchise takes a lot of due diligence, self-evaluation, personal and family commitment to make a change. Expect it to take maybe 60 to 90 days. Here's some keys to success. After 30 years in franchising, managing hundreds of corporate stores, owning our own multi-unit business that we turned into a franchise, the keys to franchise success, it seems they're listed. They're no-brainers, huh? But executing on a daily basis is hard. It's hard to stay focused, determined. You got to make sure you have the ability to learn, to take a community leadership role, to execute those standard operating procedures, follow the system, discipline day in and day out. Make sure you have enough money and meet the franchisor's guidelines, and don't just open and operate think you can, at the low end of the price scale without lots of research. If business ownership is your next step, you must have family support. You may need to leave early or stay late, but don't think this is your job. The family has to be able to support you. Think about this. You're going to recruit, you're going to train, and you're going to support your team. It's foundational, and it's the building blocks to profit, growth, and impact. You keep teaching, and you give your team the freedom to do their job and the flexibility so you can enjoy your why you started a business. You have to have the unmistakable focus on being part of the community. Stay in touch, like we talked about, with your customers. Maybe there's changing trends. A proven franchise system manages by the metrics. The numbers talk, and the IT system, the software, will make it easy for you to manage through a dashboard process. Think about this. No franchisee gets to the top without years of hard work, sacrifice, perseverance, an unwavering desire to be the best. Are you going to let fear of the unknown stand in your way to begin that journey? Well, hopefully, Franchising Made Simple, this webinar, has provided a better understanding that there is a lot more than just Subway and Chick-fil-A. There's proven systems and support that you can help achieve your dreams. I'm Scott Diener, and my company is Pro Franchise Advisor in partnership with Hire GI. We look forward to meeting you at an upcoming Veteran Career Fair. And if you don't build your dreams, someone will hire you to build theirs. My contact info is at the top and listed. Free resources for you to keep the dialogue open. Take the free assessment. Get the instant results. Request my free ebook about how to select the right franchise for you. Definitely. Let's schedule a one-on-one meeting at an upcoming Veteran Career Fair so we can answer your questions. If you're ready to start the process, complete the questionnaire and we'll carve out time to dive a little deeper. It would be my honor to schedule a casual call with you to discuss your career and business goals. Most of all, thank you for serving and make it an amazing day.